Hi, my name is Bruce Steinberg, Executive Vice President of HIMSS International. Today I have with me Claus Pedersen from Orden University Hospital Innovation Center. So Claus, welcome to Istanbul, to Eurasia 19.
Thank you, and it's great to be back. I've been in Turkey for a number of times, and it's always a pleasure to be here.
Fantastic. So first let's talk a bit about innovation and technology. So how do you think technology is really affecting the healthcare sector, and how is it taking it forward?
Yeah, you know, technology has always been one of the driver, maybe not always as visible for many people as it in reality has been, or as important it has been, but it has always been the driver in some of the change process that we are going through in the healthcare sector. In the good old days, 20 years ago, the whole standardization of the processes and the communication was driven by technology and the ability to actually exchange information. That was part of the first quality and economical gains of the healthcare system. And secondly, when we went into the next phase that we are doing in Denmark, and many other countries are in that process of centralizing our hospital structure, technology has been a really important driver in our ability to still deliver services and access to healthcare for many people not living in the centers, but having the ability to communicate with the hospitals or getting telemedicine services brought to them in their home. So technology has been an important driver in the whole process from where we started to a more centralized and more specialized healthcare system.
So you must be one of the countries that's most advanced right now, if you look at all of Europe, in using the technology to drive digital transformation. How does that help your outcomes at your hospitals?
Well, first of all, you can say we gained a lot of quality improvement in digitalizing the processes internally in the hospital. Secondly, we gained a lot of quality improvement in the communication between hospitals and primary care, ensuring that the communication was accurate and had the right content. And now we see that technology is ensuring that we can deliver a better decision base for our clinicians. We can use the many data that we produce more efficiently and ensure that we can take the right decision for the right patients better than we could earlier.
So that must have helped outcomes, both clinical outcomes and also operational outcomes. And I understand that in Denmark you've done something which many countries haven't done, which is you've reduced the number of beds in your hospitals.
Yeah, you can say that has been in reality a key driver for the development in the Danish healthcare sector, and also in our innovation and technology development, is that there has been this drive from relatively many beds in the Danish healthcare sector to today we have relatively few beds. And we have short admissions times. We are down to 3.2 days or something like that in average. And we are still reducing beds. And that creates new demands for new services, new way of doing things. And technology is just one of the really important tools in the box to meet the demands. Because in the future we will have less beds, we will have more patients, and we will have less money.
So you have to be much more efficient.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And technology you can't do it without.
And interesting, I think, for a lot of our viewers who are around the world, because when on HIMSS TV, if you're speaking on HIMSS TV now in Istanbul, you're really talking to the world of healthcare everywhere. So that was a nice plug, wasn't it? So for a lot of our viewers, it will be really interesting to understand how that was policy driven and how the policy basically encouraged the hospitals and the hospital administrations, the CXOs, to drive that kind of technological advances.
Yeah, you can say the policy drive in this was the decision of restructuring the Danish healthcare system, reducing the number of beds, centralizing the services, we have closed more than 120 hospitals over the last 20 years. That was the policy decision. And then you can say that enforced the management of the hospitals or the regions to do the necessary steps, including taking the technology into the production and doing the technological development that was needed in that.
And they had to do that because the policy said you must do that, so the hospitals and the management had to figure out a way to get there.
Yeah.
So they used technology, and that sort of unbelievable.
You can say it's fairly simple. As politicians, you set a goal and you give some money, and then you leave the rest to the people who do the work.
And you cross your fingers.
Exactly. and I would say nothing is perfect, but surprisingly, it has gone well in Denmark. We have reached the goals that were set more or less.
That's fantastic.
We can see we can still deliver good quality, and we follow our quality outcomes, also the clinical outcome, quite closely in Denmark. And we can see we have higher quality with less cost, with less beds, and for more patients than when we did in earlier.
And in terms of quality, what kind of quality indicators are you looking at? A decrease in sepsis, a decrease in misdiagnosis, a decrease in,
We have a relatively well-developed national register of all the clinical outcomes, all the adverse events and so on, and we follow that quite strictly, and we can see the development over time. But we also see that we have an increase in the length of life expectancy. Life expectancy. We can see we are doing better on the cancer treatment. We are doing better on a lot of parameters that we didn't do well on 10, 20 years ago. So that was the centralization, getting the specialties to work more efficiently. That has been driving that.
Let's transition a bit to what you do in your innovation group.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, I could say two things. We are the one who get the pleasure of doing all the funny stuff because we're doing all the new stuff. And for that part, we have, of course, we take a look at the clinical needs. What are our shortcomings? What do we need to improve? But the second thing we do, we look a lot internationally. We go out internationally through HIMSS or through European projects and discover what are the other hospitals doing better than we are doing. It's really important for us when we do innovation to have an international viewpoint. So it's necessary to get inspiration from the outside, and then we go back and make projects where we try to solve a clinical problem with what we have learned outside and what we can figure out ourselves, and then develop new solutions, new way of doing things. And we have been doing that for many years and slowly transform some of the services that we are delivering in many ways. We have made a lot of good things, we have made a lot of failures, but that's how
What are you particularly proud of?
Well, I think you can say one of the things that we have been working a lot with is to ensure the integrated care system works quite well. So the communication between secondary and primary care is working well. I think one of the unexpected successes we had was language interpretation by video. Because it was actually solving a small problem but created an infrastructure that is now used for a lot of other things. So suddenly video conference become a normal way of communicating between different clinicians. Right now we have a lot of focus on AI and how that will change the way we are taking decisions, how we are supporting clinicians in their daily work. I think we have around 20 projects around that area at the moment. And
are the clinicians happy about this? Are they excited to work with AI?
It's all clinical driven.
Oh, it is? Okay, good.
We never start a project without having a clinical champion saying this is needed, this is what we want.
Absolutely.
And that's where it comes from.
Fantastic. Now, I always ask in my interviews one question which I haven't told you about, which is if you had a magic wand to change one problem, to fix one problem in Denmark, what would you use it for?
Well, I think what we haven't been, at least we haven't found the silver bullet for it yet, is to how to better engage the patients in their own ability to take care of their health. I think that's a great idea. That's where we are still looking around or fumbling around, whatever you say, to see how do we better provide solutions for the patients to have more control of their own life and to take back the control of their disease or their inconvenience, whatever you call it, in a way that engage them in the process.
So being patient-centric.
Exactly.
Yes.
But not only patient-centered, but also a little the old word patient empowered, actually giving the
patient the power
back to the patient.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.